our dream island now.
Right. Morning, folks. Morning, Kevin, Mpolelo, Stella, Master Ed, Cecile. Yeah.
Morning.
Believe it or not, Friday morning again.
Sure.
Time is just flying away. So we thought today we were going to fly off to our dream islands and create some form of utopia. I think the goal was, Trevor, was it? With 1, 2, 3. So the question is, can you create utopia with 1, 2, 3? I don't know. So Trevor, maybe you want to lead us down this garden path. I'm not sure where it's going to take us this morning.
Yeah, and I can tell you, I stymied myself again. Never come to me with a suggestion and allow me to throw something into the pool, because it created a tsunami in my life. So I didn't sleep last night after trying to work out how we're going to change life. So the rules that I set were, we're like Mr. Bean. We drop onto our deserted island. And with everything that we know of history, in 12 months' time, there will be 8 billion people on that island. How would we set up the rules? And I think I tried to get them down to 1, 2, 3 priorities. And as a result of that, I couldn't sleep. And I think I'm about to jump off the tallest palm tree on that island because the problem is too complex. So I'm going to try and take it back to a couple of the things that went through my mind, and I made a couple of notes. And in fact, at the top of my notes, I put contradictions and distractions. So while I was trying to think of what to do, I contradicted myself in every little statement that I made mentally in my mind. And while I was trying to evaluate which of the top 1, 2, 3 priorities I would set on day one, I was distracted by outside thoughts. So I think these things, they drive everything that we do. A couple of the things, social system-wise, I thought, you know what? Right from the beginning, I would ban from day one, knowing what's going to happen in day 12 when 8 billion people hit you. I would ban pharaohs, I would ban Caesars, I would ban Tsars, and then I started getting down to popes and imams and bishops. So I put them under the category of religious czars. So I would ban everyone that's created all of the problems in the universe. And so that all goes back to colonialism, slavery, and we can blame all of those guys for all of those type of systems. So then I started thinking about, okay, hang on now, let me try and approach what I would then do today. So at the top of my list, in a social enterprise, I would ban all autocrats. I would ban politicians, lawyers, accountants and auditors. Ed, you'll understand why. Yeah, I'd ban a lot. Tax collectors, there would be none of them around on my dream island, okay? And then I started thinking about, no, hang on a moment, so what are we going to do with all these guys that we ban? The blooming autocrats, tax collectors, and all of these. Well, I would put them in a stockade. And then I thought, no, but I don't want prisons on my island. And these rules that I'm putting there, am I the first autocrat that gets thrown into that thing 12 months later? So this became an impossible task. And then I thought, okay, well, stuff it. I'll listen to you guys and see if you come up with better systems, and I'll just work on the economic system. And I thought to myself, well, what sort of system do I want to work in? Free trade, you know, I want to barter a couple of coconuts for what guys have got. So maybe I like the capitalist system. Is there any other system that I want? Would I want to live under a socialist system? No, I don't want to live under that. So is the capitalist system the right way to go? And then if it is, what happens in the 12th month when I'm sitting with my little piece of property, and a whole bunch of guys get together and they buy up the remainder of the island behind me, around me, and they stuff up my life here. So I couldn't come up with the system. And I realized that at the end of the day, I want nothing to do with any of you people. You are all the biggest problem in the universe. I just want to be on my dream island all by myself. So please don't phone me. I'll phone you guys to actually suggest the changes. Oh, there's one other thing that I came up with. I think it was a very interesting exercise, but I think this world and us as people, I was watching a program yesterday while I was thinking, it was called The Blue Planet. And it was about a mussel cracker fish that this guy followed. I can't remember his name. He's a famous guy, 84 years old, but Alzheimer's has kicked in, Steve, and you're 100% right. I can't remember who I am. But what he demonstrated was this mussel cracker fish went after a clam, picked up the clam and took it back to a tool, which was a rock, where he broke every one of those clams. And we think we're the smartest things on this planet. Everything else is smart. We probably follow nature. We probably need queen bees and kings. And at the end of the day, that this world is about the survival of the strongest. And then when you have a look up, how did Trump get to where he is? Well, if you go in and study what happened in the establishment of New York, you see it was the criminal elements who actually built New York in a big way. And if you're going to have a look at Australia, I mean, even Ed couldn't get to Australia there. So he couldn't establish a country or continent like Australia because he was too good. It was only the criminal elements that actually established those type of countries. So are we following the wrong people? Are we following the good people? Or is this about survival of the fittest today and just break the rules, go out there and be as corrupt as you possibly can, because these are the guys that really establish continents and those sort of things. So my dream island became a nightmare island as I started thinking about these things. So sorry about that.
Oh, well, Trevor, I'm not too sure about your dream island, but that certainly seemed to be a lot of circles. Maybe it was just circles in the sand. I'm not too sure, but we'll have to work out where this one is going to take us this morning. So let's go across to the first of the banned individuals this morning. So Ed, your thoughts on the dream island.
Yeah, unlike Trevor, I didn't have a sleepless night because I took the instructions very simply. It was like we had to think of 1, 2, 3. Great stuff for an accountant. And I thought, well, we needn't bother with the details because we can't. We've only got a few minutes. Trevor will speak for a long time. I'll only get a short time. So I needn't bother with the details. So I just came up with 3 very basic principles. We can work the details out later. That's for the other guys to work out. So my 3 things are: 1, we must live in harmony with nature. I think that's the biggest mistake we've made. We've tried to tame nature. We tried to pave it over, and we're suffering because of it. So that's the very first one. We live in harmony with nature. And the next thing, it's really around the economics, but I haven't got to worry about all the detail again because I haven't got time. So my main thing was that people can build wealth, but it can't be by exploiting others. So there'll be some sort of measure where, yes, you can by your own endeavor get on in life, but you also must make sure that those less able, those less capable aren't excluded. So the measure for economic success will be how wealthy and how well are the more disadvantaged in our society doing. And everyone has a responsibility to make sure that when they're generating wealth for everyone. And once I got those 2 established and enshrined in the Bill of Rights, then I'd give people democracy. Because once those two were established, everything else they can squabble amongst themselves with a democratic system. And that is my dream island.
Great, thanks, Ed. So that's, Trevor, why you need accountants. They can count to 3. There you go. Right. And they can follow instructions. So you've got to make sure you got the right people on board. So I think we have to go to Umpulelo next.
I must Lee. Trevor's got us drawing pictures and islands. Please bring Lee back. Anyway, I guess it is a fun one. Look, interestingly, when I was thinking about it, for me, it was like, yes, a system plays a role in life. I guess it puts an order to how you do things and so forth. But I think the issue, it's the people. Even when you put a capitalist system that we say it's free market and the forces of the market will balance things out and so forth, I think the issue is always the people. So for me, it was about how do you get rid of greed? How do you bring consideration of others? And that type of stuff. So for me, the island would have been more a people that are not just about themselves and about others as well, but also an island where every person takes responsibility of their lives, but at the same time, an island where everyone does what they need to be do, given the gifting and the talents that they have. And that one for me was quite interesting because other people have more talents than others. So how do you manage that? How do you make sure that those who have more talents don't become the only ones that are prominent? Because the small talents also, contribute to this utopia of this island. So it was going to be about you focus more on the person and their character rather than what they do. So yeah, mine tended to focus more on people. And I think then a system you will put in place is largely either upheld or destroyed by people. You have democratic governments in the US, but how much of it is democratic really when you think about it closely? But anyway, yes, that's me.
Great, thanks, Umpulelo. I think we're back to Trevor's solution of banning everybody except for yourself on the island. So just get rid of all the people and your problems are gone. So all right, Steve, let's get across to you next.
Sure. I don't believe in utopia. I don't think it's possible. And for exactly the point that Mpumelelo raises, I think it's built on the back of people, of individuals willing to contribute towards a greater whole. And so I'm not sure that we have systems in place that are able to answer that need. I think it really is a question of each internal self and their desire to give the best to themselves and to others and to this world. And so if I had to think of it, I thought in some ways, some of what Ed shared, I think resonates with me. The idea of the environment and how we behave towards this world, and the other two are behave towards ourselves and behave towards others, because I don't believe you behave well towards others if you can't behave well towards yourself. But there has to be some sort of internal catalyst for that, and that's one of the reasons I've been attracted for so long to the Christian worldview, I think, because that's it suggests there might be an answer to that. I'm not sure that any of the socioeconomic systems actually provide any answers for that. But even that is to some degree a failed experiment over 2,000 years. And so that's something else that I think about. But that would be my solution, is that there aren't any greater solutions. Each person has to be willing to give the best to themselves, to others, and to this world. And that seems to be, and I agree with Mpumelelo, it's the greatest drawback to everything that we've tried to do in civilization so far, is that we are unable to harness that collectively towards a greater future. I remember reading a short article from a lady who did anthropology and archaeological studies, and she was asked what her first sign of civilization was, she thought, and not the wheel, and some of you might have seen this. It's not the wheel or fire or things like that, but she talks about the discovery of a healed human femur. And it's the idea that civilization is built on the back of when we look after ourselves and each other, rather than just our technological advancements or the industrial revolutions, etc. And so I think there's something at the heart of that. But how to harness that is very difficult, because you can't harness that politically or socially. Each person has to do that themselves. So yeah, I'm not sure if we'll ever get there, but those would be some starting points to look at, trying to figure that out. Thanks. Oh, and Trevor, nice circles. It's always good to get on and just have some great laughter early in the morning.
Great, thanks, Steve. Right, Cecile, let's get across to you next.
Okay, I haven't even had thoughts to myself in this last week, so I'm pleading the fifth on this one. But the one thing that I do know is that I am leaving all these bloody PPE agents, bastards, greedy people behind. Because I'll come with all of you, but I'll leave all these people behind because I've made my life a misery in this last week. So I'm listening very carefully to all of you while being interrupted in between with all the stupid agents' comments. Can I suggest something? I always, when we have a meeting and people are moaning about how our country's gone to the dogs, whatever, I always say, okay, if you were in Cyril's shoes tomorrow morning, what will you do to change our country? So could we have that as a discussion maybe next week sometime? But in the meantime, I'm listening to all of you. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Cecile. I thought that was the question for today. So what would you do? What would you do if you had your own dream island? So anyway, but we can pick that one up as well from a different angle. So, Master, let's get across to you next.
Yeah, what a difficult thing. It has actually stretched our mind. But look, I think the more the regulations and the rules, the more the breaking. I mean, if you look at the democratic situation or system, it's more about power, and it somehow unintendedly so goes back to autocracy, because it's a numbers game. If people are in majority, they manipulate any system and every system. If you were listening to the interviews around corruption just yesterday alone, a lot of contradictions, which says even in a democracy, the systems do not work. I mean, we have these rules and regulations that governs your procurement and stuff like that, but all those things are still not followed. But I think the system that one would create, or something, should I call it a system, a value-based kind of a thing. I'm actually inclined to, I can't remember, one of the people here talked of a Christian system or something like that. You remember, from a Christian point of view, there were all these regulations or laws and stuff like that. And Christ just asked people and said, when they asked him, which is the greatest commandment? And then he said, love your neighbors, you love. So it was also based on love. So value-based, ensuring that there is no exploitation and corruption. And yeah, I would do away with democracy. It doesn't work. It just creates some form of hope, which is just hopeless. Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Master. Yeah, I think some good points there. Right, back to our second banned person this morning. So Stella, over to you. And I'm sure you'll take your cat with you, but apart from that, I'm not too sure if you want anybody else.
Yeah, I'm listening to everyone, and I think I also just take myself and a couple of people, because to manage people is the worst thing ever. So I was also thinking, so there's got to be some rules, okay? because if there's no rules, anybody can just do whatever they want. So there must be some ground rules. Ground rules like respect, honesty, and love, okay? And everybody, there's no hierarchy. So everybody is equal. There's no one person more being important than the other. And there's got to be a common goal. Why are we on this island? What is ultimately, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to live here forever? And my common goal for myself, and I'm only taking people that wants to align to my common goal, is happiness. Okay. And so I quickly want to share, because everybody wants to be happy, Trevor, come on. So I just quickly want to read you guys this. Some of you might have heard this, but bear with me. A wise teacher brought balloons to school and told the pupils to blow them up and write their names on their balloons. After which the children then tossed their balloons into the hall. The teacher then moved through the hall, mixing them all up. The kids were given 5 minutes to find the balloon with their name on, but though they searched frantically, no one found their own balloon. Then the teacher told them to take the balloon closest to them and give it to the person whose name was on it. In less than 2 minutes, everybody was holding their own balloon. The teacher said to the children, "These balloons are like happiness. We won't find it when we're only searching for our own. But if we care about someone else's happiness, it will ultimately help us find our own." So that's my dream island. I know it's not going to happen, but that's my dream.
Beautiful, Stella, and I'll help you blow up the balloons. Don't worry. I love that one. Right, Kevin, let's get across to you next.
Hi, morning. Excuse me, morning, everyone. I'm a bit with Layla, but it's the people, not the actual island primarily. But yeah, if we could get away with stop the lack of respect with others and stop the jealousy towards others would be a good start. But then using Trevor's idea of who do I ban from said island? Well, to start with, I think I'd ban, this is a bit controversial, but I think I'd ban religion from the island for a start. This is the root of a lot of problems in the world. Then I'd also ban anybody that's got power over anybody else, whether it be a dictator right down to a job's worth in a local office. Anybody that's got power over other people, they can stay away from my island. Yeah, I think the best way to achieve that would be have people come to my island by invite only. Choose who I want to come with me to said island and start it from there. And then finally, I think I'll give the island a name. I think a good name for the island would be Not a Nanny State. There you go. Another controversial one. This is not a nanny state. Obviously, it's never going to happen.
Yeah, great, Kevin. But I see you also got to be an autocrat like Trevor. So yeah, ban all sorts of people and things. Right. Okay, Donovan, let's get across to you. Donovan, are you with us?
Morning, everyone.
Donovan, you're very, very soft again. Can you try to speak up a bit?
Okay. Yeah. I don't have like a ideal idea in mind of the island or the place to live in, but I was thinking about making it future-proof. Try and allow for every eventuality to minimize or prevent problems from happening. So you can only do that by having systems and policies in place to ensure, the island will be as close as perfect as can be. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Donovan. Sounds like a good project manager's island, that to me. So yeah, good one. All right, Nazipo, let's get across to you next.
Morning, everyone. on my island, I haven't had time to go to think about this a lot. I just picked it up. But, you know, humans exhaust me, just generally. I find humans just, humans are just humans and they exhaust me. So I wouldn't want them on this island. The one thing I would want to do on the island is I'd want to get rid of money. And for somebody that loves money like I do, it would be an issue. It would be an issue. But, you know, I would want a place where, you know, money just does things to people. You know, money just has, it just brings a whole energy of its own. And, you know, I love it because we operate with money here and you can't do a lot without it where we stay. But in my island, I would want to have love as the currency. Like I would want to have an island where people are free to explore who they are, what they love, and just, you know, do you without having to worry about money. Just do what you are about. That's that's what I would do in an island. And in terms of systems, I don't know. I don't like rules, but I acknowledge there would have to be some rules, especially if they are humans. But then again, they won't be humans because I'm not a fan of humans. So yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Oh, great, thanks, Nazipa. I love these deserted islands. Yeah. Okay, so right. So I see Jasper ran away from the question, so he's disappeared on us. So we know where he's off to on his island. So yeah, I think I'm actually pretty much in line with some of the things that Nazipa said. So for me, the first thing I would say is no money. So you take away the money. So everything has got to be done on a barter or trade basis. So we go back to the days where everybody does what they're good at, and everybody shares in the produce or the work from everybody else. And because you're all doing that and you're all sharing, you don't need any politics, you don't need any leaders. So you've got no politicians, you've got no leaders, and you've got no money. So those are my three things. I think quite simple, and that makes life easy. Take away all the complications, bring it back to basics, keep things simple, and 1, 2, 3, you've got a happy island. So there you go. So those are my very simple 1, 2, 3 thoughts on my dream island. So yeah, I think that's where we are on our dream islands. I don't know if any of them are going to float or sink over the next little while, but we've got some interesting thoughts. So Trevor, Monday, what is happening on Monday? Have you even thought about that? So yeah, you're the autocrat on your dream island. So I'm throwing the ball back into your court to decide what we're going to talk about on Monday.
No, well, I think Master made me think with the little comment. The rest of you were useless. Just there's nothing that I could get from.
Sorry, I had to turn my mic on for that reaction. That was fantastic.
Yeah. So Master threw out a comment there that he said he would get rid of. I think he said democracy. Did he? Is that what he said? I would be interested into what are the alternative systems. So I'd love to explore what type of system Master would think is the right direction, and any other thoughts on what are the right directions to go. For me, this little exercise just turned around and said, you know what? We are living in such a complex world, complex society. We're all complex beings. We're all absolutely unique. That perhaps the first rule is that everyone's got to come into this world with a sense of humor. Because only with a sense of humor can you understand why other people and Ed do the things that they do. So, okay, so, and you know, I put accountants, lawyers at the top of my dislike list because they're the root cause of all evil on this planet, I think. But in all seriousness, I think we should be having a look at is democracy, is capitalism, are these sort of things? What are the alternatives? What should we be thinking about? And it just broadens your mind to find out what, if Master turns around and says democracy is out, then I want to know what is in. in terms of his mind. So I want to give him a sleepless weekend so that he can try and impress us, as I impressed everyone with the depth of my topic today. Yep.
You still haven't answered my question.
What was your question?
What are we talking about on Monday?
Master, to give us, to kickstart us with what is the alternative to democracy that he's talking about.
All right. So what is the alternative to democracy? So Master, your dissertation is expected Monday morning at 8 o'clock.
And I'm bringing my coconuts.
Is it Monday or Tuesday? Monday is a holiday.
There's no holidays on our island. What are you talking?
Oh, okay. Okay.
It doesn't seem to be a democracy, Master, unfortunately.
Who said anything about democracy?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So we will be here on Monday, despite the fact that it's a local public holiday.
All right. No, thanks.
So, folks, have a fantastic weekend, and we will see you Monday morning. Go well.
Bye.